adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring the jet Jerry Ace, Rocket J. Squirrel, and his pal, Bullwinkle the Moose.
Hi, glad to see you again.
Likewise.
We got some great things on the show today.
Like what? Like what?
Well, you ought to know, Bullwinkle. You're in some of them.
Well, let's get started.
Yes, sir, there's nothing quite like going by rail. Unless, like Rocky and Bullwinkle, you go fourth class on the Frostbite Falls main line. For that means you walk where you're going on the railroad ties.
But you get a free can of bunion cream with each ticket.
Sure, a dull way to go, Bullwinkle. Nothing ever happened.
Oh, little did Rocky know, for at that moment on a hillside above them, Boris Badenov had just released a huge boulder designed to hit them just as they reached the point where the railroad tracks made a big X. But when Boris got his orders from Fearless Leader via Pottsylvanian carrier pigeon,
says Moose and Squirrel must get there safe and sound.
Oh, boy!
So Boris had to disguise himself as a track walker and run ahead of the huge boulder, shouting to our heroes as he went.
Stop! Look, listen! Landslide!
What'd he say? What'd he say?
I can't understand a word. Sounds like his teeth are loose.
Go back! The bridge is out!
You were right, Rock. He says his bridge is out.
You got to go back!
But we just got here.
If you don't go back, go forward, but don't just stand there.
Why?
Because Big Rock is going to hit on that exact spot.
Say, how come you know all this?
Because
Look out!
Yes, at that moment, the onrushing boulder bounded high into the air and landed right on the X. Or very near it, anyway.
You know something? He was almost right.
We gotta get him out from under there, Bullwinkle.
And by using a tree trunk as a lever and Bullwinkle's mighty moose muscles for power, our heroes were able to move the huge rock.
Gee, there's nothing here but his hat.
But where's he?
I'm on that hat.
Hokey smoke! You were hammered into the ground just like a big nail, Mr. What is your name anyway?
Why not call me Spike?
How do we get him out, Bullwinkle?
Well, if he was put in like a nail, he's got to come out like a nail.
And so, finding a tree branch shaped like a hammerhead, Bullwinkle hooked it into Boris's ears and pulled.
Easy, Bullwinkle. Let's get him out of here in one piece. That's it!
But when Boris got out of the hole, he acted rather strangely.
Does the crosstown bus stop here, conductor?
Boss, this here's the railroad.
Then let me off 125th Street and give me blue transfer.
Rocky, maybe I pulled too hard.
How's that?
I think I flipped his lid.
Goodness, listen to all the boardies.
Birdies!
Come here, you little rascals, you.
And Boris skipped off while our friends watched in amazement.
Wake me early, Mother dear, for I'm to be Queen of the May.
Boris, you have changed somehow.
Changed? I'm still sweet, lovable me.
See, you have changed. Well, now what do we do?
Let's start Cub Scout troop for underprivileged children.
Boris, what if Fearless Leader should hear you?
Fearless leader? Who is he?
If you're listening, Fearless Leader, he's only kidding. Boris, you know who is Fearless Leader. Here is his picture.
Ooh, he looks like it a meanie.
A meanie? He is cruelest, meanest, evil, wicked snake in the grass in all Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
And he is your hero.
Mine hero?
Sure, look. Here are his latest orders.
Moose and Squirrel must arrive at Peaceful Valley safe and sound. He's really a bad man?
Darling, he's like the worst.
That settles it. I do just the opposite from what he says.
You mean?
Certainty. I'll go to knock off Moose and Squirrel. It's the only decent thing to do.
Boris, you know what will happen.
Of course. I'll get 2 gold stars and a brownie.
And grabbing a nearby stick of TNT, the addle-brained Boris began to dance after our friends. Don't miss our next Daffy episode, Trouble Upstairs, or Bats in the Boris.
You won't find it on a map because it isn't there anymore, but there was such a place known as Tootsie Lavender, which in French means feet of purple. Now, the reason it was called feet of purple is because all the people who lived there had purple feet. This was not an allergy, but was due to the fact that the entire countryside was covered with grapevines. And when you have that many grapevines, you have an abundance of grapes and grape stompers. Hence the name Tootsie Lavender. As the years went by, they produced not only all sorts of wines and grape juice, but a very tasty champagne. There was only one thing wrong with it. When you opened a bottle, the cork would not pop.
The champagne is no good. It is flat.
It wasn't flat. It just would not pop. The scientific minds of Tootsie Lavender immersed themselves in the problem and came up with all sorts of cures.
Here we have a bottle containing a dash of nitroglycerin. This will make a pop.
That didn't work too well. Then, one day...
Go away. We are busy.
Excuse me, gentlemen, but I believe I can help you.
Before a protest could be lodged, the stranger stuck a finger in his mouth and...
Sacre bleu! Do it again!
For 3 weeks, the papa popped to the delight and the amazement of the scientists. Well, the upshot of it all was this. When you purchased a bottle of Tootsie Lavender champagne, you also received the services of the papa.
Look, dear, I bought a bottle of champagne.
And who is that?
It comes with it. Ready, monsieur?
Anytime.
The man pulled the cork, the papa popped. And everyone was happy. This went on for a year, with the papa appearing all over the land, popping his way into the hearts of everyone. And then, one day, the evil prince who ruled Tootsie Lavender decided to give a party.
3,000 bottles of champagne?
Oui, and you must guarantee that they make with the pop.
Well, where do I appear today?
At the castle of the evil prince. You must pop 3,000 times, and without fail, or...
Easy, shopkeeper. I shall do it easily.
But this was the wet season, and the papa was forced to fight his way to the castle through a blinding downpour. What's more, wet, cold rain can play odd tricks on a person, as you will soon see. The prince's party was a gay one. That is, until the time came to drink champagne.
All right, Popper. Do your work, and do it well.
And never fear, your evilness.
The first bottle was brought out. The prince pulled out the cork, pointed to the papa. The papa went through his customary procedure, and no pop.
You try to make the fool of me.
I can't understand it. I'll try again.
Though he tried and tried, not a pop could he make. The party was a dismal failure.
Enough of this. Throw him in the dungeon.
The papa was dumped unceremoniously inside the castle's deepest, dankest, darkest dungeon.
Oh, well. Into each life some rain must fall.
Who said that?
I believe it was the Mills brothers. Who are you?
There, in a corner, sat a bearded figure.
I am the prince of Tootsie Lavender.
Well, then who's the mean one upstairs?
An impostor who overpowered me and usurped my throne. Alas, if only I could get out of here.
I'd like to help you, but I have my own problems. A laryngitis of the papa.
Well, time wore on, and eventually the wet season moved on to San Francisco. The clear, dry air returned, and so did the papa's papa.
I did it. I got it back.
Oh, these nuts they put in here.
But the pops were to be the good prince's salvation. For the guards in the dungeon heard the sounds, believed them to be emanating from champagne bottles, and ran to the cell, glasses in hand.
Vive la Jackie!
By 3 that afternoon, every guard in the castle was in that cell. But the papa and the prince weren't. They had escaped completely unnoticed.
This way, mon ami. I have the score to settle.
Through a secret passageway they went, and where did it lead? To the great hall, where the evil prince was cheating at Scrabble.
Is that you, Pierre?
No, you rotten impostor. It is me.
You!
Revenge is sweet.
So is apple cider.
Back and forth they fought, neither giving an inch. And then the good one happened to trip.
Aha! The moment of truth.
The good prince would have had it not been for the papa. He popped.
Quick! Someone give me a glass!
And that's when a fist knocked him reeling. Well, from that day forward, Tootsie Lavender was a much happier land. As for our friend the papa, he was made royal instructor. Every man in the kingdom went to school to learn how to make the popping noise. And it suddenly occurs to me that most of those men were married and were fathers. I wonder if that's how they got the name Pop.
Thanks, Brock, but I'm not selling supers, I'm selling soap.
So, sell.
Hello, friends. Today we take up the problem of selling these here soap flakes. The best way is to cleverly disguise yourself as a washer repairman. Hello, kindly sir. Is the lady of the house in?
Oh, so it's you who's been bringing her those boxes of candy.
No, hold it, King's X. I'm the washer repairman, here to fix the washer.
I didn't know it was broken.
Now listen carefully to how cleverly I rouse his interest. Of course it's broken. It's clogged up due to ordinary wash day soaps that produce too much suds.
So fix it.
Oh!
Let me know when you're finished.
You see how I've roused his interest? You see, sir, suds from other wash day products aren't made for your washer. That's why the makers of over one leading washer recommend...
Is the washer fixed?
No, but sir, let me tell you why this soap...
Soap, schmope, fix the machine.
The essential thing to remember when you're selling soap is often the buyer merely wants to test your salesmanship abilities.
Is it finished? You fixed the washer?
The reason your washer is clogged, sir, is those thick suds. That's why the makers of over one leading washer... Oof!
Gosh, Mr. Know-It-All, what happened?
The washer's still clogged up.
Too much soap?
Nope. Too much me.
Hello out there, Peabody here.
And I'm Mr. Peabody's trusty boy, Sherman.
Right, trusty boy. And now we'll be off for another exciting journey back into history.
Ready, Mr. Peabody. What shall I set the way back for today?
For the year 1874.
Check. And the place?
Deadwood, South Dakota, where we'll meet that colorfulness of the Old West, Calamity Jane. The Wayback responded beautifully, and in less than an instant we were teleported back through time, where we found ourselves standing in front of the Deadwood Overland Stage Company.
Clear the streets! Calamity Jane is coming in with the noon stage, and she's at it again!
I beg your pardon, sir, but why all the excitement just because Calamity Jane is driving in the noon stage?
That's just it. She ain't driving. She's sitting inside the stage with the passengers. Look out! Here she comes!
We just managed to leap to the safety of the doorway when the driver of the stage roared through the center of town, narrowly missed a wagon loaded with dynamite, and came to a thudding halt on a pile of hay near the livery stable.
End of the line! Everybody out!
Is everybody all right?
Yeah, cuss it.
It certainly is fortunate that you missed the wagon load of dynamite, or it would have been a calamity.
What do you mean, fortunate? I was hoping something like that would happen. That's why I was letting the stage run wild.
Golly, what for?
Because nothing ever happens to me, that's why. What's the use of having a swell name like Calamity if you can't have a calamity once in a while?
You do have a point there.
Folks is beginning to talk. Watch, I'll show you what I mean.
Before our startled eyes, Calamity walked over to the dynamite wagon and calmly lit a stick of dynamite.
Now, you'd think that a lit stick of dynamite would cause an awful ruckus, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, I would say that.
Mr. Peabody, make her throw it away. It'll go off any second.
Oh, don't fret, Sonny. With my luck, it won't go off.
But...
See, it's a dude.
That's Dud. And what a shame. You seem to have a nice little calamity going for you there.
Yeah, I gotta start having calamities pretty soon, or I'm afraid it's gonna break my spirit.
Curious to see what Jane's next attempt at having a calamity would be, we followed her to the stockyards, where she entered a corral containing the largest, meanest-looking bull I had ever seen.
Uh-oh, she's gonna get it this time. Look, the bull is charging.
But Jane's unwanted luck still held, for the bull missed her by at least 3 feet, through a fence and into a tree.
That's incredible. He missed.
He misses every day. The silly critter can't see a thing without his glasses.
For the rest of that day, Calamity Jane tried everything imaginable to have a calamity. She even tried to sit on a tack, but was saved by a rivet in her jeans.
Nah, it's no use. Guess I'll just have to change my name to Lucky Lucy. Forget the whole thing.
She can't do that. Can't you think of something, Mr. Peabody?
I already have, Sherman. I suggest that instead of changing your name, you simply change your luck.
How am I going to do that?
Very simple. Wait here. Crossing the street to the general store, I made a purchase, then quickly returned and handed the package to Calamity.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Drop it.
Drop it?
Drop it.
Well, it sounds a little cuckoo, but okay, if you say so. Now you done it. I broke something.
You were supposed to. You see, there was a mirror in that package.
I get it, Mr. Peabody. Now she's going to have 7 years bad luck.
That is correct.
Shucks, and you look like such a smart little critter. I thought you had an ID, but that breaking a mirror business is the silliest thing I ever heard.
Gosh, Mr. Peabody, she doesn't believe in it.
She will. Any minute now, Sherman.
What happened?
Calamity Jane just had an awful calamity. Got run over by a wagon load of chicken.
Chicken what?
Just chicken. There was only one in the wagon.
Well, that looks like the start of her bad luck. You did it again, Mr. Peabody.
Quite. For in the next 7 years, Calamity Jane had one calamity after another, the most famous of which was the time she was trying to light an old stove that exploded and covered the countryside for miles around with black soot.
Really, Mr. Peabody?
Really, Sherman? How do you think the Black Hills of South Dakota got black?
Well, our boys are still on their way to the annual Big Moose Convention in Peaceful Valley, Missouri.
I didn't know there were any moose in Missouri, Bullwinkle.
Oh, certainly, Rock. Look, here's a picture of one.
Boy, Missouri meese sure look different.
Well, they are a little smaller.
And they got shorter hair.
And shorter noses, too.
And their antlers aren't as big.
And they give milk.
Milk? This isn't a moose, Bullwinkle. It's a cow.
All the same, it's a honorary moose.
How can a cow be an honorary moose?
Well, we had a big membership drive a while back. Guess we got carried away a little.
Sure wish we could.
Could what?
Get carried away a little. I'm sure tired of walking.
Then why not fly?
And leave you, my old buddy, never.
I knew you'd say that.
Then why'd you ask?
If I hadn't asked, you wouldn't have said it.
Oh.
But meanwhile, fate is preparing a cruel blow for our boys in the shape of Boris Badenov, who has suddenly reformed due to a crack on the head.
I won't do a thing that nasty, fearless leader tells me.
But why, darling?
Because he's a meanie.
Shh, Boris, he might hear you.
So I disobey all his orders. What was last order?
It said do not kill moose and squirrel.
Then I do it anyway. And afterward, we pick flowers and send them to shut-ins everywhere.
Everywhere?
San Quentin, Alcatraz, Sing Sing.
And grabbing a nearby stick of explosive, Boris danced after our friends. In a little while, he was lying in wait for them near an old watchman's shack.
Hey, that looks like a keen place to rest.
Lead me to it.
I can't. You're ahead of me.
Then follow me to it.
And our heroes entered the abandoned shack and shut the door. Instantly, Boris grabbed a roll of wire and dashed round and round the tiny dwelling, wrapping it with loop after loop.
Here we go, loopy-loo. Here we go, loopy-lie.
In a few moments, the shanty was completely hog-tied, and inside, Bullwinkle was about to make a startling discovery.
I'll get some wood and we'll start it. Start it. Hey, door must be swole up.
Swole up my foot.
Mine too. It's all that walking.
No, sir. That door is wired shut, and so are the windows.
Now, who'd want to do a dizzy thing like that?
That's easy. Dizzy Boris Badenov, who, thinking he was doing good deeds, lit the fuse on his stick of TNT.
Law and order, blow them up and then I cross the border.
But at that moment, high above, the whizzing spy in the sky satellite was sending the whole scene back to Pennsylvania and its furious, fearless leader.
Blödsinnige Leber, geharnischte Möckelmörder Geisteskranker.
Any orders, fearless leader?
Yes, activate the satellite.
You really mean?
Don't argue, Dmitri. Do it.
And with trembling finger, Dmitri pushed the activate button. Instantly, a door opened in the satellite and a hand emerged holding a large brick. It paused while complicated machinery figured distance, angle, speed, and windage, then launched the missile earthward. Just as Boris was about to lob the TNT through the window of the shanty, it was pretty close at that. But the explosion blew the wired-up shack right from over our heroes' heads, setting them free.
Hooray!
It also blew Boris Badenov into the next county, where he was found a few days later by his partner in crime, Natasha.
Okay, Boris, you want to start Cub Scout troop? We start Cub Scout troop.
Cub Scouts, are you out of your mind?
Boris, you mean...
Oh, Natasha, shut up, you mouth.
Oh, darling, you're back to abnormal.
Yes, he certainly is. And what new peril does this hold for our friends? Be with us next time for Boris on a Broomstick or the Flying Sorcerer.
Well, I guess that about wraps up another Rocky show.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. I did. I always say.
Bullwinkle, time for us to go.
Already? Okay, but first, here are some of the people who made this show impossible.
That's not all.
The fingers get tired. Oop! Got away from me again.
Well, see you next time. Ready, Bullwinkle?